Hi, this weekend I finished my run through the Fantastic Beasts series and completed my viewing of the Wizarding World movies by watching the third and apparently last film in the run, Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. It follows on from the previous two films, with the world of the 1930s seeing the wizards in conflict with Gellert Grindelwald, the wizard version of Hitler, gaining more and more followers, while Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts and played by Jude Law, maneuvering his own pawns to try and bring him down before he can bring chaos and conflict to the worlds of magic and non magic people. It's very hard to talk about the plot in any detail because I saw the film 2 days ago and I've already forgotten almost entirely what happened. But it largely seems to involve Grindelwald attempting to take control of the wizarding world by winning the election to be the new wizard president. But rather than being decided by the votes of the wizarding people, it's instead the result of being chosen by a magical animal, which bows down in the presence of someone who is pure of heart. So obviously, this guy is really, really pure of heart and fully expects this to work. And as a result, he has found one of these animals, a chillin, which sounds silly, and has zombified it so that it'll do his bidding. While Dumbledore and his assistant team, led by Newt Scamander, the magical zoologist, retrieve another Chillin and try and do something to prevent all this from happening. And the whole thing is just terrible. It's a very, very obvious satire on the rise of Hitler and the rise of contemporary far right politics, and it's so dull and so lazy and so uninteresting. Uh, One of the interesting things about the movies is that Grindelwald has to be recast with every movie. In the first film, he's played by Colin Farrell, but in disguise as somebody else, and it's revealed at the end that he's actually played by Johnny Depp. Depp plays the character throughout the second film, but then the allegations and court cases that arose then during pre-production meant that he was replaced for the third film and is now played by Mads Mikkelsen. Mikkelsen has been a Bond villain, he's been an Indiana Jones villain, he's played Hannibal Lecter. He can do this sort of thing in his sleep, and in this movie, it looks like he is, because he is so unengaged, so bored seeming by what's going on. No one really seems to have that much engagement in what's happening. I think, and it comes down to the problem of just the script. J.K. Rowling wrote the first two scripts on her own, original material, not based on any previous book. For this third film, Steve Kloves, who wrote most of the Harry Potter films, was brought in to work with her, and it does struggle to give the film some kind of shape, some kind of structure, some kind of organization so that we understand what's happening and why. But there are so many characters. There is at least a dozen major characters, all with their own plots, all with their own storylines fighting for attention, and the film feels massively overstuffed, borderline incoherent, and it's really hard to care about what's happening because there is so much fighting for your attention. There is nothing that is coming out as the main plot thread, and as a result, the film just feels slapped together and sloppy. Another problem is one issue of production, which is that production had been intended to start, shooting had been intended to start the day that the lockdown was announced. And so production was suspended the day they were supposed to start filming and wound up being delayed for more than 6 months. And as a consequence of the downtime, also three of the female cast became pregnant during the intervening months. Two of them had to be written out, and the other had to be filmed around because they couldn't lose her. And as a result, we have characters just vanishing from the movie's overall storyline. We have the main love interest and a significant supporting player from the first two films who barely appears this time. It all just feels desperate and shoddy and half-assed. There are productions, there are issues that are just a matter of production problems, but when you're losing major members of the cast for because of pregnancy and health reasons, it suggests that you need to do more to fix this, because you can't just drop them out of the story and then not have anything matter. The movie was effectively a flop. It was the first of the Wizarding World films to lose money at the box office, making less than 100 million in the US. And we've been told that although the movie ends with perhaps the inference of further adventures and the further battle against Grindelwald, that it probably wouldn't happen. And it does end fairly satisfyingly with Grindelwald apparently defeated for good, although still a free man. We're not getting any further Fantastic Beasts movies. Instead, Warner Brothers has decided to remake the original Harry Potter novels as limited series runs for HBO Max. This is clearly, I think, a terrible idea. But they've not been short of terrible ideas before this. Secrets of Dumbledore. I mean, when the Secrets of Dumbledore are actually revealed, they're not particularly interesting. Naming the movie after them was a bad idea, and there should have been some effort at structure, at story, at having some kind of shape to all of this, rather than just assuming you could do a 5-movie series and the audience would remain interested for the whole time, despite the sloppiness of the writing and the disinterested nature of the production. Instead, we have 3 movies, the first of which is passable, the second is not, the third is just about adequate. And it really just looks like trying to squeeze the last drops out of the orange.